welcome. This is Lisa Jones, and you are listening to the Exploring Death podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Exploring Death podcast. I'm Lisa Jones, your host, and today I have with me Dr. Terri Daniel. She is a clinical chaplain, certified trauma professional, and end-of-life educator, certified in death, dying, and bereavement. Her life work focuses on helping the dying and the bereaved find healing through meditative, ceremonial, and therapeutic processes that focus on inner transformation rather than external events. She is the author of 4 books on death and the afterlife, and is also the founder of the annual Afterlife Awareness Conference. Terri also has a podcast, Ask Dr. Death, launching in February on all major platforms. Welcome, Terri.
Thank you, Lisa. So nice to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you. I'd love to pull cards on that if you're okay.
Sure.
I'd just love to see what comes up about, again, this idea of, you're just really there to support them.
It's spiritual support or spiritual care. So, we should be called spiritual care providers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that. Okay. So the first card is gratitude, and this is actually the blockage card. And so I'm trying to just tune in here with the block of gratitude is. I think the whole idea that, people aren't grateful for somebody trying to evangelize them at the end of at the deathbed or whatever, or they're, they, like you said, they want you to come in and be where they're at, not go in with an agenda of what they're doing. And so that's where I'm seeing that this block of gratitude is, because again, when you're on your deathbed, the last thing you need is anybody coming in and telling you, anything, right? Other than just supporting them on their journey. And so really the best part about that is the opening that brings. If you can walk in there with a clear heart and a clear mind, allowing people to really open up and be who they are and where they are in their experience. And I love it then, because then it's an outcome of pleasure. And so I love just this idea of a spiritual support person that comes in, and really, because again, I think we all have traumas about our religious upbringings, at least I do.
So the new theory that we use now is something called the dual process model, which means that you spend some of your time focusing on your loss and how sad and hurt and suffering you are. And then other times you focus on restoration and what am I going to do to feel better? And you can move between those things. And I have a video about that if you want me to send it to you, about loss.
Oh, that is fantastic. I would love that. If I'll put the link in the below.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be a good link to have. So email me and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
So loss and restoration looks like, you go to bed at night and you're just crying and crying because your husband's not there and you can't sleep. And you get up in the morning and you're so miserable, but then your friend comes over and says, let's go for a hike. And you go for a hike, and for a little minute, you feel better. And now you're focused on restoration. Then you go home and the house is empty and you're focused on loss. But then for some reason, you decide to start going through the closet and starting to get rid of his clothes. And that's restoration. And so you do this 100 times a day. That's what has replaced the Elizabeth Kubler-Ross stages. But if you haven't studied this academically, you would have no way of knowing this.
That is amazing. This is the first time I've heard that. And I am literally, my whole body is just vibrating with joy, because I feel like it's almost like, not that I've been fighting against it, but it is so entrenched in our society, that whole 5 blah, blah, blah. And I feel like guilty when I say, well, that's just it doesn't seem right to me. So I love that you've got the academic credentials to be able to say, yeah, it's not the way. And
there's,
what you just talked about feels so right. And that's exactly how I went through it. The loss, right. The restoration, the loss, restoration, and it ebbed and flowed,
And it will always do that. You'll do that
right.
forever.
I still do it. Right.
Yeah.
I still have days where I'll just out of nowhere, just have a huge grief wave. And then it's like, oh, okay.
And then, and then spiritually speaking, we want to teach ourselves to love that grief wave, not to hate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to go, oh, there it is. Oh, there's that pain. I haven't felt that for years. It's been a while. This happened to me, not that long ago with my son when I was moving, and I was moving to a smaller place, and I had to sell a bunch of furniture, including his bed that he died in.
Oh, wow.
And so I had to sell my son's bed. I wrote a chapter in one of my books about it. And I just, the guy who was going to buy it was on his way over, and I went and took off the sheets and got the bed ready. And I fell to pieces, just fell on the bed crying and screaming. And then after like 10 minutes of that, I got up and I went, wow, that was great. I loved that. I got to feel my pain again. It had been a few years since he died.
Right.
So, one thing we want to teach people is how to go into the pain and be with it rather than to just say, oh no, it's terrible, I don't want it. That helps a lot too.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I feel like I could talk to you all day. You've just got such great information. So
thank you, Lisa. It's been great. Thank you so much.
And for those of you listening, be sure to stay tuned as I'll be pulling some cards for you up next.